All right. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Freddy Fazbear Friday Theory video. Once again, say that 10 times fast. But apparently, Help Wanted 2 is not what we thought. I have no idea what that means, but I hope it's not clickbait, but that title already intrigues me. So let us find out what exactly that means. Also, my camera doesn't look the best because the sun is peering in, so let me adjust that because I want to look kind of pretty before we dive into this theory. So apologies on that front. That look good? I mean, looks different. Looks decent. Looks different. I don't even know what I said there. Looks decent. We're not going to be modeling any, Vogue or supermodel contracts. So, all right. Let us dive in.
I finally solved Help Wanted 2, but not only that. In making this theory, I know what the game after Secret of the Mimic is going to be about. I'm not kidding. Slices, put on your aprons, and let's bake ourselves a theory. Help Wanted 2 as a game is simple and confusing. A lot of us understood the majority of about it upon release, because on the surface, the overarching story is fairly straightforward, so much so that most FNAF fans agree as to what's going on. And FNAF fans agreeing is a big ask. A worker at the Pizzaplex, likely Cassie's dad, is slowly being corrupted by the Vanny mask while working at the Pizzaplex. But while the premise is simple enough, the more questions you start asking, the more confusing the game gets. When exactly is this game taking place, as we see points before and after Security Breach? What is the goal of Glitchtrap in this game? How do we visit Sister Location and Fall Fest if we're at the Pizzaplex? What is actually going on in Help Wanted 2? Well, to understand the performance, we need to meet the Puppet Master, who's behind Help Wanted 2. And personally, I think it comes down to two individuals.
I don't know if this is true. This is what you were leaning into. But if we're being honest, the puppet master of Help Wanted 2 is Helpy. Let's just be honest. I don't know if that's what this video is leading to, but that's just my guess. Is Helpy is the conspirator and the person who is responsible for it all is Helpy. I don't think it's a coincidence that you see Helpy on the screen and everything telling you to do tasks and everything. And then as soon as you get the bad ending where Glitchtrap comes out of the birthing pod from Security Breach, and then the conglomeration of Nightmario and Statbots surround you, then you give the Vanny mask to Cassie, your daughter, at the beginning of Ruin. After that, coincidentally, Helpy is now gone. Right? To me, that's not a coincidence. Because Scott doesn't do coincidences.
Vanny and Dr. Rabbit.
God damn it. Hashtag justice for Helpy.
This theory is sort of a part 2 to my last FNAF theory on Gregory's timeline. I'll link it here because you really should watch it first, but I understand some of you don't want to. So to very briefly just go over the essentials. Glitchtrap is an entity we've known since Help Wanted, this rabbit. I believe he's a manifestation of the Mimic 1 program. The same programming inside of the Mimic at the end of Ruin. This program commands it to replicate what it observes. I believe the evidence we have now suggests that the Mimic's programming was taken and inputted into Help Wanted, and that Mimic programming that's been with the franchise since its inception, if 1979 is to be believed, is now being trained on essentially a montage of the worst moments of Fazbear's history. This manifests as Glitchtrap, a program that wants to recreate the horrible deeds that William Afton did. But in order to do that, it needs to be outside of the game, so it tries to escape through a video game tester's mind, Jeremy. Jeremy proves too resilient though.
And yeah, that is a little bit weird. Like, what is Glitchtrap? Is it William Afton incarnated because he always comes back, he never really dies? Is it an actual glitch, like it literally is a literal technological glitch? Is it a mixture of two? What is Glitchtrap? To me, that is how I've viewed Glitchtrap. It's a compilation of William Afton's misdeeds by luring and killing kids and everything. It's and mimic AI learning William Afton and mimicking it. Well, the glitch trap is not an actual person. It's a computer software. It's a glitch. It's a virus. And we know that because when during Tape Girl's tapes in Help 101, when glitch trap is first introduced, they talk about how they got a collaboration of circuit boards and other technological equipment that was made, that we know was made and scanned to make the game Help Wanted. Because we know the Help Wanted game is an actual VR game in universe. It's not just a VR game just for us as the fans in real life to play and everything. Like, no, it's a VR game in universe. And we know the developers in that game once again scanned weird circuit breakers and circuit boards, and one of them being corrupted with the glitch trap virus.
And uses a paper slicer to get out of the headset. His next target is another game tester, Vanessa, one who he slowly creeps into the mind of until eventually she gives in. But what is actually happening here? Is a program possessing a human? I don't think so. My best guess as to how this possibly works is that Glitchtrap as a program can replicate itself. We see something like this in all of the technology and animatronics at the Pizzaplex, where all of them are corrupted in some way and display Glitchtrap in different moments. So if Glitchtrap is controlling all of this technology at once, what seems more likely? This one program is simultaneously running the entire Pizzaplex, or this one program has made copies of itself throughout all of the technology, and those copies can communicate to each other. I think logically the second one makes more sense. So instead of Glitchtrap as a singular program controlling the movements of all of the technology in the Pizzaplex, Glitchtrap makes a copy of itself and inputs that to the machinery. That way each animatronic, in a way, is piloted by Glitchtrap, and they can communicate within each other. So
Glitchtrap split off himself, kind of like a Horcrux from Harry Potter. Interesting. I know that's a common theory out there that people believed. I don't hate that thought. And I guess it would kind of support the idea that Glitchtrap as a virus is meant to spread. And his whole point is to mimic William Afton's creations and to get people to play the VR game, fall under the Glitchtrap virus, and basically be like a cult, right? So you would want to replicate yourself to infect more people, get more people under your Glitchtrap cult. So, okay, yeah, I can see that.
So if we extend that logic to Vanny, I believe that in a way, Vanny is Glitchtrap. Vanny is an iteration of Glitchtrap. Glitchtrap took its programming and dataset and replicated it within the programming of the mind of Vanessa, creating the Vanny persona.
And that is why Vanessa, we know, is a reluctant follower. They are under the Glitchtrap virus because the tapes infected her and everything. Right. But she's a reluctant follower, where she's under William Afton, but she is scared to take that final leap. Right? She's scared to take that final leap, not fully under control of William Afton. And there's plenty of evidence that support that claim. Number one, my mind immediately goes to the whole FNAF AR emails, where, like, yeah, she's typing stuff like, how to, or blah, blah. She does, like, positive stuff where it's like, the migration pattern of, like, butterflies or bees or something. I think it's butterflies. But then other days, she's getting red flagged by HR because she's typing stuff like, just help on its own, or how to induce self-compliance, or how to do compliance in human subjects, or how far can a human body be severed before it loses consciousness. Like, to me, that is stuff from Glitchtrap taking over her mind or body. Type in Google how to induce compliance, how to get Vanessa, who's a reluctant follower, how to get her under his complete control. Right? To me, that's what it is. So, yeah.
That way, she could be his servant in the real life to facilitate a proper host for Glitchtrap to be put into. But while Vanny is Glitchtrap, she's not the Glitchtrap, or as I'll refer to make things easier, Glitchtrap Prime. You following so far?
Absolutely not. But okay.
because Vanny also needed help. She was busy doing the experiments to create a host that Glitchtrap could enter, so she needed someone to conceal those experiments and protect herself. I believe she used the Vanny mask to slowly corrupt the mind of Gregory, a boy who was obsessed with the arcades at the Pizzaplex until eventually his mind was taken over as well, Glitchtrap iterating inside of it, creating the Dr. Rabbit persona, the one that we see in the Tales from the Pizzaplex story GGY.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. But, then again, everything with Security Breach is weird. The whole Gregory thing in Security Breach is very confusing. Because the books have leaned into it hard that he is Dr. Rabbit. Gregory is not the hero in the story. He's actually under the Glitchtrap virus. He's actually working with William Afton to kill people, right? Like, that's what the books have leaned very heavily into, especially in the Tales of the Pizzaplex books. But while that's all true, it's very weird. Because what is Gregory? How is Gregory? Why is Gregory in Security Breach, right? Everyone always asks, who is Gregory? No one ever asks, how is Gregory or why is Gregory? Because in the books, we're told Gregory, or GGY, for lack of a better term, it's not confirmed it's Gregory, but it's GGY. GGY in the books is this genius hacker who has a Dr. Rabbit persona. Once again, come back to William Afton with the rabbits. They are someone who's able to, once again, they're a genius hacker. They're able to hack into all their arcade games to get all the highest scores. They are also able to hack into the software of the animatronics, which is weird because if that is true, Gregory hacks into the Glam Rock animatronics in Security Breach, then why are they chasing him, right? Why are they chasing him? That's the whole point of Security Breach, is the animatronics are chasing them. Why are you, as Gregory, running away from the animatronics when you yourself hacked into them to make them aggressive and hunt you down? That doesn't really seem that smart, right? So it's very weird of how you view Gregory, because very clearly Gregory in the books and Gregory what we play as in Security Breach are vastly different. Maybe I just thought of it. Maybe I just solved it. Maybe that's what Patient 46 is just... Maybe that's the truth of Patient 46. This entire time. It's not Vanessa and Vanny. It's not Vanessa and Gregory. No. What the whole mystery of Patient 46 is Gregory in the books and Gregory in the games. Those are the two patients. One is, very alone, hates candy, loves dark basements. The other doesn't. But then again, that doesn't make any sense as I'm thinking about it, because we hear Vanessa's voice on one of the patients. So it cannot be Gregory and Gregory from the books. Damn it all. I thought I solved the Da Vinci Code, but apparently not.
Again, all of this is in the last FNAF theory, but TLDR, I believe that Vanny and Dr. Rabbit are iterations of Glitchtrap that exist within their hosts, Vanessa and Gregory. But by the end of Security Breach, both Dr. Rabbit and Vanny were removed from their hosts. But since in B7-2, we get evidence that even though a persona can be removed from its host, it doesn't destroy the persona. That persona then just seeks a new host. So using that logic, Vanny and Dr. Rabbit are not gone. They are just in search of a new host. But how do we get to Help Wanted 2 from here?
Like, that's my main question, though, is what is Gregory from the books and the games? And I posed this question earlier, so I'll just bring it up again just so I can really hammer it home, but it's really just so I can remember it, is why in the entire game is Vanessa, the security guard, hunting you down, Vanny and the bunny rabbit hunting you down, and the Glam Rock Trunks, except for Freddy, is also hunting you down. If Vanessa and Gregory are working in cahoots together, why doesn't Gregory trust her? Why are you trying to run away from her? Like, that doesn't fit cleanly. But then again, nothing Security Breach does.
Well, we have to look at the beginning of Security Breach, as Help Wanted 2 likely takes place around the same time as Security Breach. Security Breach starts when Glamrock Freddy glitches out on stage and does a safe boot, which incidentally frees him from Glitchtrap's control. And seemingly with the evidence we have and based on my last FNAF theory, at the same time, Gregory is freed from Glitchtrap's control, the Dr. Rabbit persona being removed from his psyche. But what was that inciting incident that caused all of this? Well, like I mentioned in the last FNAF theory, we know from Ruin that Cassie's father worked at the Pizzaplex, loved the Fazbear franchise, and knew what was going on to some extent, because he seemed to know what happened to Glamrock Bonnie, but wouldn't tell Cassie. So a lot of us assumed that he was the one looking into the Pizzaplex, which leads to Help Wanted 2. So knowing that game
Figuring out what's going on in Help Wanted and the FNAF, and that's what leads to Help Wanted 2. Let's see. It's widely accepted that we play as Cassie's dad in VR2. Yes. And they know the truth of what's going on, especially when it comes to Glamrock Bonnie. And that's why I wouldn't tell Cassie that. Because if I'm not mistaken, is it in the audio electronic messages in Security Breach? Yeah, it is. In one of the electronic messages you get in the duffel bags in Security Breach, it talks about Bonnie Bowl, and it says something like, people are asking, oh, what happened to Bonnie, everything, and then it's like, oh, do we have like a company accepted answer of what to tell people? And it's kind of this illusion of like, Bonnie clearly exists, but what happened to him? Did Monty do it? Why did Bonnie go into Monty Golf at like 1 a.m. and then goes decommissioned? And then, oh, by the way, Bonnie had claws that was used to play the bass. Monty now has claws to be the new bass player.
Takes place at the FNAF 6 pizzeria, and knowing that in Security Breach, the Good Vanny ending means that if you beat the arcade game linked to a persona, you free the person from that persona. As we see with Princess Quest 3, a timeline starts to form. Especially considering that a Balloon World arcade machine exists in the FNAF 6 pizzeria, and if you visit it in Security Breach, it's already beaten. I'm proposing that the beginning of Help Wanted 2 is Cassie's dad, who has been looking into the weirdness surrounding the Pizzaplex, and winds up at the FNAF 6 pizzeria using his Vanny mask. And when inside, he comes across the Balloon World arcade machine. Other employees have been noting how the arcade machines are starting to act erratically, so finding one this far off the beaten path must mean something, so he decides to beat it, and in doing so, Gregory is suddenly freed from Dr. Rabbit. That starts Security Breach, but that's not where Cassie's dad's story ends.
So Gregory is connected to the Balloon World minigame, because we know that game does glitch out. Right, we know that's a game that glitches out in Security Breach. So playing that game freed Gregory from the Glitchtrap virus, the equivalent of Princess Quest that would be for Vanessa. Huh. Maybe? That's weird. That is very... To me, that's a home run swing. Where if you're right, damn, you called it. Right? So, that's interesting. Now, my mind immediately goes to, if that is the theory, that's the message, that Gregory is tied to the Balloon Boy arcade game, that's why it glitches out, and basically this message of any game, any 8-bit minigame we play, that glitches out is tied to some character getting free from William Afton. I don't know if that's the Glitchtrap virus or some good ending, right? Released in some way. Doesn't have to specifically be the Glitchtrap virus, but it can. The point is, they get freed from William Afton. Gregory, it's a Bloom game. Vanessa, it's Princess Quest. That makes you question of the other glitching minigames out there. Did that free somebody else? Right? Has that freed somebody else in the series? Because, for instance, we know in Happiest Day minigame, or the FNAF 3 minigames to get to the Happiest Day, stage 01 is you play as Golden Freddy. And you have to glitch outside the borders of all these walls and everything. You have to jump through a ton of walls and everything. You have to glitch out through the system until you get to one specific room where it's a dead kid sitting alone, and you give them cake to inevitably release that soul and everything. Right? So it's another game where you have to glitch out in order to free someone's soul. So we've been doing that since FNAF 3. Huh. That's interesting now that I'm piecing that together. And that's where my mind goes to. It's like, okay, what other glitching games are there? And what soul is getting freed next? Because then that's a clear pattern. Of like, hey, it's worked several times. Is there any others that we can think of?
Still in the FNAF 6 pizzeria, looking around and trying to figure out what's going on. Well, Dr. Rabbit needs a new host, and having Glitchtrap's dataset, it knows that it needs to slowly win over the mind of its victim before taking it over. So I believe Dr. Rabbit leads Cassie's dad into using the Vanny mask more and more by posing as Helpy. Now, I hear...
Well, first of all, Helpy is now brought into the equation, like I said in the very beginning.
You. Why Helpy? I was recently on a live-streamed podcast hosted by T-Dreads with a whole bunch of FNAF content creators. Like, literally, two...
So, Helpy is Gregory. Gregory is Helpy. That would explain in Ruin why Helpy is around, but also uses Gregory's voice. That would explain it.
Many to directly say, but I'll link the podcast right here. We talked about a whole bunch of different FNAF things, but while we were talking about the Candy Cadet stories... Editing, Riley, I forgot to summarize the story, and it's like a 4-minute audio if I just play the story straight, so I'm just gonna summarize it here. The story in Help Wanted 2 is that somebody faced off against a witch and got away, but was left with a scar on her face. But then, when she's older, she goes back to confront the witch. But at the entrance of the woods, a small boy greets her, and the boy is like, "Oh, I'll help you. Here, take a rest in my house." And she listens to the small boy, and then the story ends with, the oven door was closed, the witch would have her meal. So the little boy tricked her to falling for the witch. ID's Fantasy had this to say about the Help Wanted 2 story.
Especially since it's another one in the Steel Wool era, I think it's supposed to be about our player character, and the way I interpret it is we're playing as Cassie's dad, and I think he's Help Wanted Jeremy. And that the scar is what happened where he sliced his face. But the thing is, when they mentioned, oh, there's a mask on the floor, it's described as a Halloween mask, and the lights in the room were on. So if Tape Girl was in there and it was just a guy's fleshy face bits, I feel like she would have seen that. But if it was like an actual mask cut off, that could look more like a Halloween mask, and it would be easier to mistake the blood for ink.
Well, also,
I think that Jeremy survived that barely. He wanted revenge on Glitchtrap for what happened to him, even though he managed to escape. And so he comes back to Fazbear Entertainment as a technician, but through the Vanny mask, Helpy or whatever, lures him to the place and gets him stuck. And then he dies.
Ultimately,
Now, that... I have seen that theory sworn around, and ID Fantasy is not the first one to bring this up, is the whole thing that Tape Girl brought up in one of the tapes in Help 101 of how Jeremy was corrupted by the Glitchtrap virus, and he somehow wanted to get released from said virus. So he felt the only way to not get fully corrupted by Glitchtrap by William Afton as Glitchtrap is to take a paper shredder and slice off his face while in the VR mask. Right? That's the only way he can be released and everything. And there's two sides of the coin of this. is that actually a Halloween mask and like ink, or is the Halloween mask Jeremy's face and the ink is blood? To me, both situations are plausible. And to me, I've always had the seeking suspicion that the Halloween mask is Jeremy's face because he sliced off with the paper shredder, and the ink is blood. And the reason why I say that is, to me, it's an ESRB rating thing, where they tame down the language a bit. Right? They tame down the language a bit because that would be a little... Now, this series does get pretty graphic at times. But to me, I feel like that is overstepping the line. If a character outright says that a character's human's face was sliced off, right? To me, I feel like that is pushing it, going over the board, right? I feel like that's pushing the boundaries a little bit too much and everything, where ESRB ratings are now questioned. Because I'm just going to call it out and say, like, I have to realize that Freddy Fazbear's is, you know, a kid that is very popular with kids. Right? Just saying it as it is. It's a series that's popular with kids. And you as a parent, you know, buying, oh, do you want to play this like new FNAF game and everything? Oh, this must be fun and everything. Oh, this line comes out in this game of a person's face is sliced off? That's probably not good for kids and everything. So to me, you know, you could make the argument that it was framed in that way to make it seem like, oh, it's very innocent a Halloween mask, but it's actual face. But it was said that way to have a nicer ESRB rating, right? To me, that's my counterpoint. Not because I'm biased, or like, no, I'm assuming I'm right, but to me, you know, you at least have to consider that as an option, where it's like, yeah, they probably dumbed down the language to make it more kid-friendly. Now, if this was like Call of Duty, like an M-rated game, there's no doubt in my mind that, yeah, they probably would have said his face was sliced off. But to prevent an ESRB rating issue, they just said mask, kept it ambiguous, kept it as nice and tame as possible, even though we know the series can get dark at times.
The light bulb I put together for a recent video was that little boy is, if that's the case, that little boy is definitely Helpy. Which I think a lot of people would like miss at first, but you look at Ruin, that's your little guide boy, and he's luring you straight into the oven.
This line of thinking convinced me of two things. First of all, I had not believed for a long time that Jeremy from Help Wanted survived his encounter with Glitchtrap, but placing Jeremy as the woman in the woods from these stories, suddenly that becomes incredibly plausible. The idea that he encountered Glitchtrap once and escaped while scarring himself, and encountered Glitchtrap a second time falling for the trap. After all, Help Wanted 2 only has bad endings for the player. That makes...
But Help Wanted also has bad endings. Right? Help Wanted 1 also has bad endings. You have the kid ending with Pizza Party, where you as a kid get lured backstage by Glitchtrap for your birthday. Glitchtrap also calls attention. You say, hey, come here and everything. You get killed, and then you see yourself stuffed inside an animatronic suit performing on stage, and your killer is parading off in the distance. Another ending is Glitchtrap absorbs and takes over your mind and your body, right? That's another ending. And then the third ending is Glitchtrap traps you in that little steel compartment. You can see with like the claw marks and scratches and fingerprints that you're not the first person to be trapped in there. Other people have tried to break out but couldn't.
A lot of sense, and I think I do believe now that Cassie's dad is Jeremy from Help Wanted and the player from Help Wanted 2. But more importantly for this theory...
Jeremy... Blah, blah, blah. Wait. Hold on. Let me replay that again.
For the player. That makes a lot of sense, and I think I do believe now that Cassie's dad is Jeremy from Help Wanted and the player from Help Wanted 2.
So Cassie's dad is the player character in both Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2. Huh. Interesting. Help Wanted 2, 100%. I'm totally on board with that. But Help Wanted 1, you play as Cassie's dad. Why? Why would you play as Cassie's dad in Help Wanted 1? Like, to me, the only connective tissue you have of Cassie's dad being the protagonist, the character you play as in both games, is in the trailer for Help Wanted 2, handing it says, like, oh, welcome back for another week and everything, referencing the previous week, aka Help Wanted 1. To me, that's the only connective tissue of how Cassie's dad would be the character we play as both Help Wanted 1 and 2. Right? That's the only connective tissue. That's weird. Right, Help Wanted 2, I'm on board. It's Help Wanted 1 where you start to lose me. Where it's like, why? Why is it Cassie's dad? Right? Because if I'm not mistaken, Help Wanted 1... Hold up, let me see. Because I thought, if I'm not mistaken, it's widely assumed and interpreted that we play as Vanessa in VR1. The whole point of the game is us collecting the tapes, assembling Glitchtrap, and then eventually getting taken over by Glitchtrap and being a reluctant follower and under his control and everything. Right? That's why there's 3 bad endings all tied to Glitchtrap of either killing us, absorbing our body, taking control over it, or something. But Glitchtrap always playing a part in that. Right? I know, like, I always thought that was the widely accepted answer, is we play as Vanessa. We assemble the tapes, and Glitchtrap takes over our body, and Glitchtrap wins in the end, and we, as the player, lose. Right? Why would Cassie's dad be there for Help Wanted 1? Right? That's interesting. Right? Why him? Right? That's something I need to think about even more. Right? That's something I need to chew on. Pun intended. That's interesting. That is a swing. We play as Cassie's dad in both VR games. Okay. I'm not going to shut out the theory yet because there's still like a few minutes in the video. We're only halfway through. So maybe there's evidence supporting why we play as Cassie's dad in Help Wanted 1. But that's interesting. Alright. If there's more evidence, I'll hear you out.
But more importantly for this theory, the boy in the woods. A lot of people believe that boy to be Helpy, a friendly face that leads us astray. But if that's true, there's an interesting bit of logic here. If the witch is Glitchtrap, then
why would the boy not be Gregory? Why would it be Helpy? Right? Why would the boy not just be Gregory? Because once again, we know in the books that Gregory is not this innocent child that we play as in Security Breach. We know Gregory has evil intentions. So why would the boy not be Gregory? And the woman would be Vanessa. And the witch, it's weird, but the witch would be William Afton. Because, hold on, let me pull up the Candy Cadet storyline. Candy Cadet stories. That's not what I'm looking for. Those are the stories from FNAF 6. I need the story from VR2. Okay, there we go. So if I bring in the Candy Cadet story from VR2. Hold on. I'm cropping out the first story because it's just one about, a family, didn't use their Faz coins, so they couldn't, take advantage of the coupon deal and they got killed. Which is obviously a story that we're not meant to take seriously. So I'm ignoring that one. The second story is the important one. So that's the one I want to call attention to. So this is a story that they're referring to. So now let me tell you a story about a young woman who, when she was little, was led into a dark forest by a witch and almost eaten. She had fallen for the friendly voice without discernment and was led astray. She had escaped before being thrown into the oven but would have a scar for the rest of her life. When she had grown, she saw revenge on the witch and entered the forest again, willing this time with the confidence of age and experience. She was greeted at the mouth of the forest by a young boy who offered to help guide her through the darkness. She had welcomed the help and followed the young boy over the river through the jagged trees and toward a small house. Come, the boy said. Press here before killing the witch. The young woman was tired and would kill the witch in the morning. She followed the boy into the house and the oven door closed and the witch would find her meal. Now, the boy being helpy is an interpretation, but why would the boy not just be Gregory, where it's a simple thing of sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer. The boy would be Gregory. The boy, Gregory, we know, once again, isn't all sunshine and rainbows innocent as we know about from Security Breach. They have evil intentions, especially this whole Dr. Rabbit stuff being connected to William Afton, who would be working for William Afton, hence the witch being Glitchtrap William Afton. And the young woman we've always assumed to be Vanessa, right? Because, first of all, this story happens right before we go into the Vanessa ending, where we hand Glitchtrap over to the giant Vanessa and the claw machine, and they crush and then they walk away and everything, right? The young woman would be Vanessa in this story, was led into a dark forest by a witch and almost eaten, led into a dark forest by a witch, you could say led into being corrupted by the Glitchtrap virus by a witch, Glitchtrap, William Afton. She had fallen for the friendly voice, the Glitchtrap virus, being corrupted. A scar for the rest of her life would be the Glitchtrap virus, right? And want to sought revenge on the witch Glitchtrap, William Afton, want to seek revenge, which is, once again, what we see at the end of this game, where Vanessa crosses Glitchtrap. She was greeted at the mouth of the house by a young boy, Gregory, who helped guide her through the darkness, wanted to take out William Afton. But once again, we know the young boy, Gregory, is working cahoots with William Afton. So this would also line up. So why would the young woman not just be Vanessa? The witch being the Glitchtrap virus and the young boy being Gregory. Right? Like, why is the young boy helpy? Right? Like, just because the young boy offered to helpy, like that connection. Like, I don't know about that one. Now, I'm not saying that interpretation's one or anything. I'm just giving my point of view and everything. That's why I wanted to bring over... God damn it, son. But that's why I wanted to bring in the text from the Candy Cadet storyline from this game and everything, to read off and everything, give my point across of, this is what I interpret the story to be. The young woman being Vanessa, the scar on her is the Glitchtrap virus, and she's a legend follower. Glitchtrap hasn't fully taken over Vanessa, right? That would mean leaving a scar, but wanted to come back and get revenge on the witch Glitchtrap with the Glitchtrap virus.
And the boy can't be, right? So Helpy can't be Glitchtrap Prime. So in that case, who is Helpy? Well, that only leaves Vanny or Dr. Rabbit. And Vanny is seemingly too busy dealing with security breach. Not to mention, if it was Dr. Rabbit's arcade machine that was beaten, he would be the first to know. Especially if Dr. Rabbit...
Well, is Vanessa busy with security breach? Right, is she? Because you have Vanny being a thing and Help Wanted 1, but if endings are to be believed, we believe the Princess Quest ending is the canon ending that would lead to Ruin. So Vanny would not be a thing in Help Wanted 2. She would be gone and everything. That's why Cassie's the new Vanny. That's why the staff bot hands Cassie the Vanny mask that Vanessa had, because she's the new Vanny. So Vanny Vanessa would not be a play anymore because Cassie's now taking on the role, right? The Princess Quest is widely believed the canon ending that leads to Ruin. It's the only comic book strip that doesn't show up in the game and everything. That ending has a Headless Freddy, which would tie into the prototype Headless Freddy in Ruin, right? That would explain why in the beginning of Ruin, the Vanessa mask is found and later handed to Cassie, because in the Princess Quest ending, the mask is seen left just hanging around so someone would retrieve it. So Vanessa would not be a thing in Help Wanted 2. So I don't know about that one. That's where you start to lose me.
Was the one who encoded themselves in these arcade machines, as I said in my last theory. So that's my argument for Help Wanted 2. It's the story of Dr. Rabbit seeking a new host in Jeremy, Cassie's dad, in order to continue the work of Glitchtrap. All of these tasks are just to get Cassie's dad to wear the Vanny mask for longer stretches of time, especially the ones that don't make sense temporally. If the Vanny mask is able to show us distorted AR versions of the Pizzaplex, it's likely able to show us VR versions of anything. These Fallfest and Sister Location tasks are likely just trained off of the Mimic's dataset, things that it's seen in the past. But it's making up this task so that Cassie's dad wears the mask for longer stretches of time to worm his way into his brain. And it eventually works. We see in the main ending that if you listen to Helpy and follow all of your tasks, eventually Glitchtrap exits from a charging pod. And like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Rabbit and Vanny are just iterations of Glitchtrap. What I think we're seeing in this moment is Dr. Rabbit entering the mind of Cassie's dad. After all, if Vanessa or Gregory weren't suitable enough hosts for Glitchtrap Prime, why would Cassie's dad be? And that's the story of Help Wanted 2. But that's not all there is it? Because there's a whole other ending in this game, one that's centered around Vanny. So what about Vanny? Help Wanted 2 shafted
Thanks, Dakota. I really appreciate that.
Vanny. Dr. Rabbit's defenses didn't work. Not only did Gregory get freed of Dr. Rabbit in the first place, but it put the whole thing in jeopardy, and Gregory himself freed Vanessa.
It also doesn't help that the sun is peering through my blinds and everything, so I have no idea where to sit in the video where the sun's not directly beaming through my eyes and everything, so that's just fun.
of Vanny. And to top it all off, Dr. Rabbit is about to take the very next suitable host that they find. Vanny made Dr. Rabbit. He exists to serve Vanny to serve Glitchtrap. And now he's usurping her? A persona that, in his words in GGY, is Glitchtrap's favorite. No way. This is too much. Vanny can't let this happen. So during Help Wanted 2, while Dr. Rabbit is trying to take over Jeremy's mind, Vanny starts leading Jeremy astray, promising that there's something deeper going on, the thing he's been looking for, if he just looks a little harder, leaving him these breadcrumbs until eventually he finds Princess Quest 4. At this point, there are two timelines here. In one of them, Jeremy listens to Vanny, following her hints until eventually ending up in Princess Quest 4. And once his mind is ripe for the picking, Vanny reaches in and plucks out Dr. Rabbit, that iteration of Glitchtrap, and crushes it, destroying it, letting her take over Jeremy's mind instead. Now I hear...
Ha. Ha. So instead of Vanny crushing Glitchtrap, which is literally what we see, it's Dr. Rabbit, Gregory's persona connected to the William Afton Glitchtrap virus. Maybe it. God, this theory is making me question a lot of what I know, especially in Help Wanted 1 and 2. Especially the whole idea of we play as Cassie's dad in both Help Wanted 1 and 2, instead of just 2. And the assumption that we play as Vanessa in Help Wanted 1, the whole game is us getting corrupted by Glitchtrap. Let's make it question everything that we play as Cassie's dad in both 1 and 2. But that... My counterpoint to that is, if this is not... Hold on, let me play this again.
astray, promising that
I'll play
there's
this video
something
again.
deeper
I want to play this scene again.
going on, the thing he's been looking for, if he just looks a little harder, leaving him these breadcrumbs until eventually he finds Princess Quest 4. At this point, there are two timelines here. In one of them, Jeremy listens to Vanny, following her hints until eventually ending up in Princess Quest 4. And once his mind is ripe for the picking, Vanny reaches in and plucks out Dr. Rabbit, that iteration of Glitchtrap.
That iteration of Glitchtrap. Why is it that iteration? Because need I remind you of how this scene even happened, right? Need I remind you how the scene even happened? You get this mystery coin from Mystic Hippo that unlocks Princess Quest 4. You play Princess Quest 4. Eventually, the princess takes over your mind, and you yourself are the princess in the game and everything. You light the torches, you see Old Man Consequences, and you basically do a trade. You trade in the Vanny mask for a plush rabbit of Glitchtrap. It's a green rabbit plush trap that we see. It's also the same glitching plush rabbit from Help Wanted 1, right? Why would that be Dr. Rabbit and not just Glitchtrap, right? Because we know in Help Wanted 1, when you are holding that plushie, that green glitchy plushie that we eventually get from the trade, you hold that with the Vanny mask on in the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. We know that's tied to Vanessa being under the control of Glitchtrap and being a reluctant follower. So clearly the green plushie is tied to William Afton, Glitchtrap. Why then would this same green plushie be now tied to a different character instead of tied to Glitchtrap? Why is it instead tied to someone else? Right? Like that would be my counterpoint. Is why is the Glitchtrap plushie being represented by someone else now? as opposed to Glitch Trap, which is what we see in Help 101.
And crushes it, destroying it, letting her take over Jeremy's mind instead. Now I hear you. That's Glitch Trap being crushed there.
Right!
Even in the FNAF Steel Wool interview, when talking about this ending, J-Top said this.
And being, this is, you know, the end of Glitch Trap.
Yeah. So it is the end of Glitch Trap. Squished. Gone.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And I've been really thinking about that. At the time this interview came out, Help Wanted 2 was the most recent FNAF game. And if this were true, and J-Top is just saying what the ending means, this would be unprecedented. This would be the first time in FNAF history that someone who worked on these games came out in an official Scott-approved forum and said, oh, here's exactly what this ending means. So I thought that was unlikely. But at the same time, I don't think he's lying, because that would be equally unprecedented. The lore is hard enough to solve. The last thing we need, and I think Scott understands this, is someone officially coming down and just lying, because that would mess with so much. But
Agreed.
now, I'm thinking that J-Top wasn't lying, he wasn't telling the full truth. Dr. Rabbit and Vanny are iterations of Glitch Trap. In a way, they are Glitch Trap. So if Dr. Rabbit is the one dying in this ending, then J-Top didn't lie at all. That's the end of Glitch Trap. That specific iteration of Glitch Trap. Glitch Trap Prime is still safe waiting for his suitable host. All the same, I don't think this ending is the canon one. After all, the other ending is what leads us to the beginning of Ruin, something we know does happen.
Agreed. To me, I think this is the canon ending.
And in that ending, Jeremy listens.
Very similar to in Help 101, the ending with the pizza party. To me, I think is the canon ending of Help 101, where you are lured to the pizza plets on backstage and then killed and stuffed in the animatronic suit, and then Glitch Trap dances away. To me, that's the canon ending of Help 101. I think Glitch Trap taking over your body or locking you in that cellar, I think it's just cool endings.
To Dr. Rabbit, and Dr. Rabbit enters Jeremy's mind. But that's not the full ending cutscene, is it? We see Glitch Trap begin to emerge from the pod, but suddenly we cut to Jeremy being attacked by a bunch of staff bots, and then the game just ends. And suddenly after, we're looking for a new host in Cassie. If the process worked, wouldn't Jeremy already be the host? Why would they even need Cassie? What exactly is happening here? Well, if you remember the story B72 from Tales from the Pizzaplex, not only does it teach us that personas can be removed from their host without being destroyed, it also tells us how they can be destroyed. In the ending of that story, the main character's grandmother accepts that persona and its mechanics, letting it possess her, because once it does, she dies, and she wants to take it with her. We learn that if you kill the host while the persona is still in that host's mind, it kills them both. This taking of center stage by Dr. Rabbit is too much for Vanny. Vanny is Glitch Trap's #1 assistant, always has been and always will be. So once Dr. Rabbit entered Jeremy's mind, claiming this new host to continue Glitch Trap's legacy, Vanny did what Vanny does best, and what Vanny has done throughout the entirety of Security Breach. She sent the staff bots after him.
Disassemble Freddy.
Ripping Jeremy's body to pieces. And in
But we know that ending is not canon, is the Disassemble Vanny and Disassemble Freddy endings. We know those are not canon. They're just one of many endings in Security Breach. Unless there's someone who is very cruel out there and thinks every single ending from the Burn Trap ending, Princess Quest, the 1 of 3 stars, all the way to the weird ending where Freddy drives through a car, crashes through a sign, and uses the car battery to power up Freddy. If you think all those endings, all 8 of them, are somehow canon, to me, there's 2 camps, 2 endings that even have a chance of being canon. It's Princess Quest, which to me is the canon ending, and then Burn Trap, if you want to bring in the Blob.
the process destroying the Dr. Rabbit persona. But now we're back to square one. Actually, worse than square one. Sure, it's just Vanny and Glitchtrap again, but now the Pizzaplex is in disrepair, the animatronics are going haywire, and the Mexis security system is unsolvable. Dr. Rabbit was the one who modified the Mexis machine to protect and conceal the Mimic according to my last theory, and without him, they can't figure it out. They need another host, someone from the outside, to work their way outside in to take care of it. And now knowing that if the host dies, the persona dies with it, Vanny is careful about this next one, and calls for Cassie. Thus we have Ruin, where Vanny is using the Vanny mask to slowly take over Cassie's mind, just like Help Wanted 2, exposing Cassie to the Vanny mask over time, tricking her to use it as much as possible, but waiting until all the security systems have been disabled to finally take over her mind. Once Mexis is fully shut down and the Mimic is freed, then Vanny steps in, giving Cassie's consciousness this fake scene of bliss and happiness so she can take the reins. And then Vanny goes to work, freeing Glitchtrap's new host, the Mimic. But I'm not done yet. We just explained Help Wanted 2 and Ruin, but I said we'd predict the next game after Secret of the Mimic, and that I will. Well, technically I already have, because it just kind of goes back to what I've been saying for a while now. I think this theory really goes along with it, that now we have Glitchtrap in the Mimic, who can be any animatronic, and Vanny in Cassie. That duo can continue William Afton's legacy, where the Mimic is able to kill the children and do these remnant experiments, while Cassie is the bait, a child who can go to other children and be like, hey, do you want to go backstage and meet the animatronics personally? I know a secret. And since Gregory, Vanessa, and Freddy's Head are the only people who could possibly know about this at this point, they're the ones who feel it their duty to go and stop it. But we'll have to see if that's at all accurate when we get a trailer for this game way long after Secret of the Mimic comes out. I want to apologize. This is possibly one of my most lore-dense FNAF theories I've ever made, and I had to assume you guys knew a lot of in-depth stuff, especially just my theories in general, specifically mine. Typically, my job as a FNAF theorist is to make a palatable version of theories so that anyone, even casual fans, can easily understand these videos. But frankly, this theory is so entrenched upon theory after theory and speculation built off of other speculation that if I broke it down so everything was fully explained so that any casual fan could enjoy it, it'd be like 50 minutes long, and I don't have time to do that. So unfortunately, I made this in a way where it's probably only palatable to the very intensely dedicated FNAF fans out there.
AKA me! Only the most hardcore of FNAF fans understand theory like this, right? Only the most hardest of hardcore FNAF fans who dive into lore as much as I do understand a theory like this. And despite all that, do I like this theory? Yes and no, right? I'm still, it's very weird to me of how we're now pushing this narrative that, you know, oh, Dr. Rabbit now exists, and here's, you know, the Dr. Rabbit character from the books, and pulling it from, hey, Dr. Rabbit from the books has actually been in the games all this time because they're this, they're this, they're this. God, I hate the sun so much. Hold on, let me bring the brightness down as I'm wrapping this up. That better? I have no idea. Somewhat better. But this whole idea of, yeah, Dr. Rabbit now existing in the universe and everything is very, very odd, right? It's very odd because why, right? Like I said this, you know, like I always say, you know, I said my thoughts on the theory in real time as I was watching it. So this is just like my time to like wrap it up, put all my thoughts together and everything. So I feel like I put all my thoughts together while I was watching it. But it just makes the question of, okay, so if Dr. Rabbit is a thing in the universe, why is it Gregory? Right? Why is it Gregory? Why is the, once again, the plushie we hold that we know from VR Help 101 is, Glitchtrap's soul. It's kind of like Harry Potter, where it's a Horcrux, whatever, but it's Glitchtrap incarnated, right? Why is that now attached to a different character? To me, it's a lot similar to the whole Midnight Motorist issue, where purple has always been associated with William Afton and the Aftons. Purple has always been a color associated with evil, right? And you assume the person driving a purple car to be purple because, well, that's William Afton. Come to find out, the person not driving the car, or the person driving the car, is not the color purple, what we would expect. And that's why Midnight Motorist is so difficult. The detail that you expect to happen is not what you expect at all. That's what makes it so difficult. To me, this is the same deal, where it's like, why would Dr. Rabbit be part of this, right? Once again, like I said, with the whole Candy Cadet storyline, the little boy, why would that be Helpy, right? A little boy we know of is Gregory. Why would that not just be Gregory, right? Because we know Gregory is tied to Vanessa, at least in some way, right? Now, whether that's, a different storyline, like Gregory and Vanessa, sure, the storylines may have changed. Sure, I will give you that. But at the end of the day, Gregory and Vanessa's security guard are connected in some way, right? They just are, right? Gregory says in the very beginning he doesn't trust Vanessa's security guard, and Vanessa is searching for the little boy, Gregory. That's the whole point of the game, right? So very clearly, Gregory and Vanessa, they know each other, and they're connected in some way. So why then, when you talk about a young woman and a young boy, why would that not be Gregory and Vanessa, right? And the little details that Candy Cadet brought up in the storyline, to me, connects to Vanessa, right? Vanessa not being led astray, lured in by the voice of the witch and everything, the witch being William Afton, the Glitchtrap virus being under his control and everything, being under the Glitchtrap virus. And the scar would be the Glitchtrap virus, because we know Vanessa, through the tapes and everything, does get possessed and manipulated and brainwashed by Glitchtrap, but they're not fully under his control and everything. They are a reluctant follower, right? That's why in the FNAF AR emails, Vanessa is typing stuff like help, right? Just HELP in Google and everything, because they wanted help. They wanted some way to get out of the Glitchtrap virus. But then you have other searches like how to induce self-compliance or how to induce compliance in human subjects. That is Glitchtrap typing on Google through Vanessa, find a way to get her from a reluctant follower to a full follower, fully under Glitchtrap, right? So that would be the scar with the young woman, is they are under the Glitchtrap virus, but they're not fully under it. That would be a scar. And they come back to face the witch to heal themselves and get away from the Glitchtrap virus, which is what we see in the arcade machine at the end of Help Wanted, right? Now, obviously, it's a little bit weird. At the end, we're talking about the oven was closed and the witch had her meal, which it's like, what does that mean exactly? That's a little bit weird. And to this day, no one still has an answer. But why would the young boy be Helpy? Like, that is just really weird to me. Like, I've heard Helpy be many things. Helpy being connected to Gregory and being the young boy in that story, that's a new one that I need to sleep on. I need to really think about, right? I need to really think about that one. Helpy being Gregory, right? Like, the only thing, just thinking about it, the only, piece or, dot I can connect of Helpy and Gregory being connected is in Ruin. We see Helpy in Ruin, and Helpy and Gregory, the mimic that uses Gregory's voice, is kind of working in tandem to get Cassie to trick her, undoing all the security nodes and releasing the Mimic, right? So Helpy and the Mimic, using Gregory's voice, were working together to trick Cassie. So it's like, if you squint at it, the Mimic using Gregory's voice, like, yeah, that's technically Helpy and Gregory, but it's not really Gregory because it was the Mimic mimicking Gregory to get Cassie to trust them. But other than that, I don't see a connection with Helpy and Gregory. Unless there's some future book, future installment that really makes you question everything. And turns out, yeah, Helpy and Gregory are one of the same. Then that makes you question, damn. At this point, what if that is true? Then my main mindset is, okay, then what is real? What can we trust? If at this point Helpy is tied to Gregory, then yeah, what do we trust at this point? Because I've always had the mindset that Helpy is just an upgraded version of the Mimic software, right? Because I said this in my reaction analysis video when I was reacting to the Secret of the Mimic trailer, that I view the Mimic software as like iPhone software updates or PC software updates or anything that requires a software update. The Mimic software is like version 1. The Mimic software with Helpy is like an upgrade. It's an updated version of the Mimic software that Edwin created, right? It's a more in-depth version of the Mimic software, right? And then you could say, Glitchtrap is also a software update version of the original Mimic software that Edwin created. They're just software updates. You go from the Mimic software that Edwin created to then Helpy or Glitchtrap. I don't know if that's the exact timeline, but you get what I mean, though. Like, over time, that AI gets more and more developed, right, through the Mimic software, right? That's how I've always viewed Helpy, just to be an AI software update tied to the original Mimic software that Edwin created. So being attached to Gregory, I don't know about that. I have to really think about that. And also, I'm trying to wrap up this video and everything because it's so frustrating. The sun is just nonstop. It's very annoying when I rewatch this and everything. So that's a theory. This is a theory that is very dense indeed. But to me, I view this theory as very dense because there's a lot of swing for the fences claims out there that I really need to stop and think about, like, damn. Gregory being Helpy. Cassie's dad being the character we play as in both Help Wanted 1 and 2. Like, 2, 100% on board. But 1, that's where you lose me. So, this is one where I have to stop and think about, what do I really know about this franchise, right? I need to go back to the basics before I need to react to more theories. Because maybe I do need to go back to the basics. Maybe I need to refresh my lore, play the games again, read all the books again, or not again, read for the books the first time. Read the books the first time, refresh my memory on the lore and everything, because maybe I'm starting to forget and start to lose my sanity of what do I remember.